appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? With? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Yeah. So that's the moment that we're going to talk about today. A reporter directly asks about Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist brutally murdered inside the Saudi consulate. And both Trump and MBS act clueless. So let's talk about what's really going on here. Why are the world leaders and billionaires obsessed with Saudi Arabia? Why does the U.S. keep entertaining a crown prince deep in controversy, corruption, and global power games? And why did Mohammed bin Salman walk into the White House again this week, welcomed with open arms? Welcome back to Kim's Breaking Point, where we talk about global politics, human rights, and the stories people in power hope you don't pay attention to. If you're new here, my name is Kim, and let's get into it. Just days ago, Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the same man that the CIA concluded ordered the killing of Jamal Khashoggi, stepped back into the White House to meet with Donald Trump. This is significant for a few reasons. MBS wants advanced U.S. fighter jets, specifically F-5 fighter jets, and an upgraded system. He was previously denied because of human rights concerns, the Yemen war, and the Khashoggi assassination. This meeting signals that the door is wide open again. Politics is shifting, and so is the U.S.'s willingness to overlook a lot. This visit wasn't just symbolic. It was strategic. When the U.S. denied MBS's access to those jets just a few years ago, he didn't sit around and wait. He pivoted fast. He went first to Iran, then China, because Iran and China have increasingly aligned their geopolitical strategies. And suddenly, Saudi Arabia wasn't just America's dependent oil partner anymore. They became a player with options. And that's why U.S. officials are now nervous, because the narrative is always that China and Iran gaining influence is a threat to the American power. But America created that threat by pushing Saudi towards them in the first place. The Abraham Accords weren't about peace. They were about normalizing Israel's occupation by aligning Arab governments with U.S. and Israeli interests. Saudi Arabia hasn't officially signed them yet, but the pressure is real. And this is where it gets a little dark. Saudi Arabia does not support Palestine in any meaningful way. They issue statements, they appear concerned, but when it comes to action, nothing. And every time MBS cozies up to Trump or the West, the conversation shifts further away from Palestine statehood and deeper into deals centered on weapons, oil, and regional dominance. Before we get any deeper into what this means for the U.S., especially with Khashoggi's murder still hanging in the air, let me put you onto something that's actually good for you, unlike these global power games. GOLI has a zero-sugar 3-pack wellness bundle that honestly makes staying consistent stupid easy. Their pre- and postbiotic gummies, incredible for digestion, gut health, and bloating. Apple cider vinegar gummies, the classic ACV benefits without the burn, ashwagandha gummies, perfect for stress, focus, and keeping your energy steady. They taste good, they're clean, and they become a staple for me. If you're trying to get your health back on track going into the winter, this bundle is a solid place to start. I'll leave a link below so you can check it out for yourself. Now, back to why this entire White House visit should have been a global scandal.
Just yes, Mr. President, allow me to answer. I feel painful about, families of 9/11 in America, but, we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden, he used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism. About the journalists, it's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for, no real purpose or not in a legal way. And it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc. in Saudi Arabia, and we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that. And it's painful and it's a huge mistake, and we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
A Saudi journalist, a U.S. resident, a writer for the Washington Post, a man critical of MBS. He walked into the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in 2018 and never walked out. Investigators found he was strangled, dismembered, and his body was disposed by a Saudi hit team directly tied to MBS. The CIA connected it back to the Crown Prince. The entire world condemned Saudi Arabia, except the people who mattered most politically. And now, years later, MBS is welcomed back to the White House as if nothing happened. No accountability, no consequences, just business. So the real question becomes, why are the rich obsessed with Saudi Arabia? The answer is more simple than you think. Money, power, and access. Saudi Arabia sits on $1 trillion worth of oil wealth, mega investment funds like the PIF, endless mega projects, sports takeovers, tech futures, global infrastructure deals, and this is why billionaires, CEOs, and political leaders crawl toward Saudi Arabia, even when the human rights record is horrific. Where there is money and unchecked power, there are always powerful people willing to look the other way. This week's meeting between Trump and MBS isn't just a handshake. The U.S. is willing to reset ties with Saudi Arabia, regardless of past crimes. Military power and oil still outweigh human rights in American foreign policy. The Middle East is shifting, and Saudi Arabia is positioning itself as the central power broker between the West, China, and Iran. Palestinians will continue to pay the price because every Saudi, Israel, U.S. alignment weakens the global push for Palestinian autonomy. And if Saudi Arabia gets those U.S. jets, it reshapes military power across the entire region, especially for Gaza and the West Bank. This isn't just about diplomacy. It's a reordering of global alliances. So thank you so much for watching. This story matters so much because it impacts Palestinians, American foreign policy, and the future of global power. And we need to keep our eyes on it. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the U.S. should be partnering this closely with Saudi Arabia, especially after Khashoggi's murder? Drop your thoughts down in the comment and let me know. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.